Hello everyone, I'm Game. Oh, what am I doing? I'm just enjoying this nice cup of coffee. That's really nice, but I think you all need to drink your coffee because I'm going to be talking about a mono red commander that everyone has been sleeping on. This commander cares about ETBs and death triggers and has a clone effect that's really easy to proc. And no, I'm not talking about Feldon or Kiki Jiki. Today, I'm going to be showing off my deck list for Calamity Galloping Inferno. This guy knows one thing and one thing only. There's nothing more important than friendship, which is exactly why he likes making clones of his friends. Because what's better than one friend? Two friends. So let's jump right into the list here. Now, when you're making friends, it's important to find desirable aspects within that relationship. Is this person kind? Does this person support me, even when I'm at my lowest? How much money does this person have? That's right, there's nothing more important in a friendship than a friend with fat wads of cash. So I have pals who can support me in these trying times. These guys are so sick. Some of them make me treasure tokens when they enter, some of them make me treasure tokens when they leave, and one of them does both. There are definitely some notable mentions in this category, like Roseroom Treasurer. They're going to give us extra treasures when we have creatures enter, and if we have mana to spare, we can even do a little bit extra damage as a treat. The most important part about these creatures is that they ramp you into our 6 mana commander, and then they can have their ETB copied by Calamity to instantly generate more mana because Calamity has haste. Solemn Simulacrum is another card that gets a lot of mileage in this list for that reason. This sad robot has been left in the dust by so many other cards, but he's so perfect in this deck. When you saddle him to Calamity, you get 2 extra lands, and when the copies die, you get to draw 2 cards on top of the fact that you just swung in for 8 damage. Something really nice about friendship is expanding your community even wider. Maybe you meet someone who has some other friends they want you to meet. So when a creature enters and tells you to draw a card, that's pretty much that creature saying, hey man, here's a new friend. And sometimes that friend is a mountain. So we got all sorts of card advantage in this deck. We got the classic Sky Scanner. They enter and bam, you got a new friend. We got a Ruin Grinder. When they die, you discard all your old friends, but don't worry, you got a brand new hand of 7 friends. Then we do have some weirder ones like Combustible Gearhulk. You put the top 3 friends in your library on a trolley track, and your opponent either turns your friend's bones into shrapnel, or they divert the track and you get 3 cards. Famously, the members of my pod hate getting pelted by the bones of my friends, so most times I do get to draw 6 whole cards whenever I saddle Gearhulk to Calamity. It's important to have removal in any kind of commander deck. But game, what does removal have to do with friendship? Hush, 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 hush. Hush. I'm glad you asked, but don't interrupt me. Can you really say that your friendship can stand the test of time if you wouldn't murder someone for them? So, I have 9 slots dedicated to it, which is slightly lower than what I would normally go with, but some of my burn creatures double as removal. I ultimately decided to commit to being an absolute synergy fiend. It's not something I would normally do, but I think in this deck it works just fine. We do have your classic red removal cards, Blasphemous Act, Vandal Blast, Chaos Warp, and my goat, Abrade. There are a few creatures that remove things when they enter, Manic Vandal, Plundering Barbarian, who doubles as ramp, and most importantly of all, Behemoth of Vault Zero. This card was made for this deck. When Behemoth enters, you get energy, and when it dies, you can spend any amount of energy and then destroy a non-land permanent with mana value equal to the amount of energy you spent. This card is absolutely peak in this deck because Calamity makes clones of it and then those clones die, so you get the energy from them entering and then you get their death trigger, which lets you remove a non-land permanent. Behemoth is like one of my favorite colorless cards because unconditional removal in red is so hard to come by. You might be wondering, what if my opponents aren't a fan of my friendship? Then you need to play these cards to force them to be your friend. Why did I write that? I'll admit it, this deck is pretty feast or famine. It can do powerful ETBs, but it's very reliant on its 6-drop non-evasive commander, so I did give this deck a little bit of evasion. Brotherhood Regalia and Commander's Plate serve as very powerful evasive equipment for this deck that also double as protection. And we have some creatures that either make it so certain creatures can't block when they enter, or give a creature menace. If you're looking into building this deck, I will have the deck list in the description down below, but I would consider putting something like a Prowler's Helm in the list, replacing Sparring Construct. I'm going to be honest, the only reason he's here is because I think it's really silly, and there's nothing more important to friendship than silly factor, but I would use my deck as a jumping off point for your own list. I normally wouldn't commit so hard to these more expensive cards in the list, but they were things I already had in my collection. The deck functions without them, but is undeniably stronger with them. Just keep in mind, if you want to buy this list, there are 5 cards that make up half of the list's price. Once again, these cards do inherently make the deck better, but I would always recommend proxying, especially if you just want to try it out. 2 of the more expensive cards in the list are purely just to double Calamity's attack trigger, the first one being Roaming Throne. It goes without saying that this is an incredibly powerful card. The ability to trigger Calamity's ability twice is ridiculous, because that makes 4 copies of a creature. The other card I use to effectively copy Calamity's attack trigger is Relentless Assault. This card lets you pay 5 mana, and it gives you an additional combat phase, and you can activate this ability as long as you have the mana for it. Both of these cards can effectively end the game. If you're looking to replace them in your list, I would choose Full Throttle from Aether Drift. It's a $3 card, it can give you a lot of value in a single turn, which can be more useful than Relentless Assault. I would also consider Port Razor. The reason I didn't put this card in my list is because it's a 2-card combo with Calamity, and I generally avoid putting those kinds of combos in my decks because it makes the power level fluctuate a little too much game to game. But if that's something you enjoy, it's definitely worth experimenting with. You might be wondering, how does this deck win? And to that I say, first of all, rude. Did you not believe in Calamity or something? Are you seriously gonna do that to them? Look what you did, bro. They're crying now. Are you being serious? Get the heck out of here, man. Dude, screw you. And second thing, yeah, of course I have plans to win, you disgusting non-believer. But you don't even like horses. Dude, we really gotta talk, because Calamity still hasn't come back. I think you really did a number on him. I get it. I know you were just wondering how the deck wins, but I'm telling you, he didn't like that. Okay. I'll tell him you're sorry. Yeah, it's okay, dude. It happens, alright? Okay, I'm gonna go tell him. I'm gonna go tell him right now. Right now. I'm telling him. Alright. I'm going off this way, and I'm gonna go tell him. Okay. Yep. Bye. See ya. We have quite a few cards and strategies that bring us towards a win. I'll split these into a few categories. First is just combat damage. I'm sure you've realized this already, but if you saddle Calamity with a 6-power creature, you can swing out for 12 damage basically for free, on top of whatever powerful ETB that creature has. Let's say I saddle Hamletback Goliath to Calamity. Sure, they don't have trample, but you're still swinging with a 6/6 and a 12/12 at someone. This keeps the pressure up, and if it doesn't kill, it buys you time to search for a clearer win con. Another win con, and most common in my experience, is burn. This deck has a lot of ways to burn players on ETB. Sunspine Lynx, Fanatic of Mogus, and Pyrogoyf, just to name a few. These creatures do pretty significant damage, and I want to highlight Pyrogoyf because their ETB cares about Lurgoyfs entering the battlefield, so when the clones enter, they do progressively more damage. This can pretty easily take out a player or a very threatening creature. The final path to victory, and the most rare because it's pretty reliant on specific cards, is overwhelming the boards with tokens. Chancellor of the Forge puts tokens equal to the amount of creatures you control onto the board, and it's also a really solid burn finisher if you already have something like Impact Tremors, Woody Roastmaster, or Weftstalker Arden on the battlefield, but it can also just make more tokens each turn and swing out. You'll have enough for blockers, and with the damage from Chancellor copies and the tokens they make, you should have a pretty clear path to victory. Another notable token maker is Wormcoil Engine. Its death trigger effectively nullifies the fact that the Calamity copies must be sacrificed, so you're just gaining life and adding more bodies onto the board. Incredibly powerful card. Obviously, don't need to put it in the deck, but it is, without a doubt, super strong. So that's my Calamity deck. It's a very powerful mono-red aggro list that wants to copy big enter the battlefield triggers to propel yourself to victory. Next time you're thinking about building mono-red, I really hope you consider building this commander. There's a lot of interesting things you can do with Calamity because its clone effect is so potent, and I think this list is one of the simpler choices you can make. So feel free to experiment, and I will have this deck list in the description. I hope it inspires someone to build something wacky, and I hope you all learned some valuable lessons about friendship today. And if you liked this video, please subscribe. I promise to have more quality content coming along the way as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching, and keep an eye on my channel because I'm going to be making another video very soon.